Hello, hello, welcome everyone. We are playing Midway. This is the legendary tier American aircraft carrier where you get to drop 2 torpedoes per plane instead of just 1. But you lose a lot of planes pretty easily. So we will pre-drop. This is kind of a strategy that we've talked about a little bit before, but it's what all the cool pros are doing these days, right? So basically the thought process there is if you send some planes back to the carrier early, you'll have them for later, right? So basically, instead of flying the whole squad over top of anti-air fire, you will lose less ships to anti-aircraft fire from the battleships, from the ships in general, right? And then, as the game progresses, you will be able to launch full squads more consistently or more often, right? So we do that there, at least in the beginning, and then we're kind of just right now not engaging just because everyone's still so clustered together, right? And then we turned away from that zone BA area because they're the enemy airplanes were over there, right? So I didn't want him to drop fighters and then we get tore up by his fighters, right? So that's why we kind of made a beeline back for where we came from, right? So we're going to early drop here. And basically kind of my idea is if I can keep my planes away, because these ships are still so clustered together, if I can keep my planes out of range of them and kind of just, rely on a little bit of luck and then the range of the torpedoes, we might still get some hits there. But at this point, there's just not a target worth singling out to go after. So we just kind of took those like luck shots, right? So they look good right now, but I'm imagining that battleship's going to speed up and turn in, so we'll probably miss there, right? But we'll drop some here after this cruiser too, and kind of same situation, right? We're hanging back, kind of hoping to get lucky, right? So we'll go back to the ship. We'll pick up the bombers this time. And then we'll kind of go and see what is what, right? We'll see if we can find a decent target to pick up. So I noticed that their planes were off over by side A, right? So my thought here was like, all right, let's at least, if I don't have a good target to go for, let's do some defense for my team, right? So we're going to come and fly over this kind of lead battleship that's right here and dump our fighters right over top of him. And as you can see, their airplane bombers are coming right for him, right? So that was the thought process there. And then we do have a decent shot at this battleship. So we're gonna take it, right? So we'll use the shield consumable here, which basically makes your fighters, your bombers, your planes not take as much damage while that's going. It's super, super helpful. You need to use that when you're under heavy fire, or when you're just dropping, ordnance, right? When you're dropping torpedoes or bombs, it's super beneficial just to have that going. You need to use your consumables. If you're saving them, you're doing it wrong, right? So we get a decent second run at him, and I would accredit that to using that consumable, right? So we'll switch back to the torpedo bombers. For the most part, I alternate just because that's typically, how typically you'll have more, you'll have more planes up in the air, right? So as you can see, we just launched torpedo bombers, and there's only 4 available now that we just launched them, but there's 6 bombers, right? There's 6 dive bomber airplanes, right? So when we go back after this run, we'll switch back to the bombers, and and so on, right? So I'm not pre-dropping here just because we're still kind of figuring out what to do at this point. I was planning like this was another defensive move here. To try and get some more fighters over our allies, as it worked so well the last time. We got 4 airplanes shot down. That potentially could have made a difference for this game. We're up a ship. We killed that battleship. It wasn't us, but, you know, somebody else on our team managed to finish him off. We will use our shield consumable here as we take a run at this. Is this a Musashi, I think? Yeah. Here we go. Come on, baby. And then we were just keeping an eye on the mini-map, and the enemies over by sea were starting to get close to us. So we're gonna use the autopilot to move our carrier away. So we get a hit on this guy, and it looks like we might be causing flooding here too. So we're up to 70,000 damage already. And then he makes it easy for us. He stops moving. We're not even going to watch the torpedoes hit. We know they're going to hit. 2, 3, 4. Boosh! 90,000 damage. He manages to put out the flood. So I don't know if he was just like that strategic and he knew we were going to come back around, so he let himself flood, or if that was just coincidence. But if he let himself flood intentionally, that was probably kind of smart. But anyway, he's dead now. Somebody else managed to finish him off. So we are picking on the guys that are kind of approaching us to try and get rid of them because we are spotted. And that is no bueno when you're a carrier, because everyone is going to shoot us that can reach us, right? So we're going to go after these guys that are close to us. There's kind of 3, 4 of them that are like right on the edge here for our spotting range if you look at the mini-map. So we're going to have to rely on we're going to go after who makes the most sense to go after, which, you know, we're right by this guy. He was the one we singled out at this time. But I think the guy, I was like, the guy in zone C can't see us because there's an island between us. So it's probably him right on the edge there. We got a battleship. He might be using us for will to rebuild, right? So he's getting shot at too. At best, he's taking some damage on our behalf, right? Since he's a little closer, some of these guys might be out of reach of us, but might be able to shoot him. So yeah, so we get unspotted here, so I decided to take the conservative route and try and like pull back a little bit and try and line up a little bit better than what we were doing before. So we were smart enough. We got that island in between us and the enemy, so they don't have line of sight on us. And then it's just kind of like, all right, who's being the most aggressive? Who's pressing towards us at the moment, right? So, and then the other thing too is I'm trying to do the same thing we did earlier on in the game, which is drop some torpedoes without getting in firing range of the ships, right? So we're gonna see if we can send these guys and either get really lucky, basically, and see if that, the Schleifen looks like he's turning in and slowing down, running into that island, whatever. But was that Giuseppe Verdi out there that's a little bit further back? Kind of thought maybe he would keep coming, but he doesn't either. So maybe, just maybe, our maneuvers are preventing them from coming forward so much. But we'll do the same thing here. We'll send the torpedoes. They do last a decent amount of time. You can see by how much how much green is on the water while you're doing your drop run, right? So, and then we'll send some after this cruiser. But yeah, part of the strategy with the Midway is just trying to keep your airplanes from getting shot down, right? So if they get shot down, so we'll go back even though there's 2 left. But so if they get shot down, they take way longer to sort of like rebuild or whatever you want to think of it as at the carrier. But if they can survive when you're doing your runs, they'll be available way quicker, right, when they make it back to the carrier. So originally here I'm eyeing up this cruiser. He may not be our best target, but I'm trying to find somebody, I'm trying to find a target where I'm flying over top of the least amount of ships, right? And so this cruiser just kind of made the most sense at this time. But yeah, he's got hella anti-air fire, so we've already lost a plane. And then it's a little bit harder to hit, right? So, you know, battleships are always the easiest. But we get a decent run here. We get 3 bomb hits and then a fire triggered. So that was worth it. And then we'll switch to torpedo bombers. We got a full squad here. And we will head directly for this battleship, right? So this is kind of our pre-drop, even though we're pointing it right at this guy. So if he keeps coming towards us, you know, there's potential there. I highly doubt those torpedoes will hit anything. And then we'll use this second run to be a little bit more strategic and actually try and hit him, right? As opposed to the luck shot, the luck drop, whatever you want to call it before, right? So we'll line this one up a little bit better, see what we can do here. You know, I always am like kind of bad at we're gonna slow down, see if we can. I was thinking we could maybe get him after that guy because he looks like he's almost dead. But we weren't gonna have the. By the time we started our run, they weren't gonna be able to hit him. Right, we were just too close. I always am like bad at gauging how like slow the torpedoes move from a lot of these aircraft carriers. Right, so that's a lot of times that's why we miss, because I underestimate the speed. We do get one hit, one flood. We're up to 139,000 damage in this bad boy. 141. We got a flood going. Hell yeah. Alright, so we're going after this guy. He is right on the edge of where we are for being spotted. I'm hoping one of these torpedoes hit him from the cruiser and they die out right before they get to him, right? But we can hit him with something here. We can do something. If anything, it made him turn away, right? So we're gonna go after this this other battleship that's here. We got so much anti-air fire. Like, I think all 4 of these ships are able to shoot at us right now. So we're gonna get these torpedoes off as soon as we get the chance. And like I said, we might not have led that target enough. But we flood the Giuseppe Verde, and we'll see if we get hits on this other guy. It looks like he turned with the torpedoes like just perfectly, so I could see him up there like going in the same direction as his ship, and I don't have high hopes. But I think it was a good shot. He was just smart, anticipated us coming for him, and then yeah. We'll see. Maybe the cruiser can finish him off. Yeah, you can see the torpedoes are all like riding right next to him. Look how slow those are. Like, they're barely moving faster than the battleship is. Alright, we lose our cruiser. It is us versus 6, you guys. We are at 171,000 damage. We're going to take the sideways shot at the Schleifen here, just because that's really all we can do in the situation that we're in, right? I was really hoping for a fire there, and then maybe we would get the kill through damage over time. But he survives us this time. And then yeah, like, we're gonna lose this game, but I wanted to do a video on this one just because I felt like we played appropriately and correctly as the carrier. You know, we did some defensive moves early on in the game to try and prevent their carrier, you know, from doing a lot of harm to our allies. So yeah, so since we know we're gonna lose, I was kind of like, I don't even want to bother with this cruiser, right? He's harder to hit. Like, maybe I can make it over there to the Schleifen that's, you know, almost dead. But I'm like, man, there's so much anti-air already from the cruiser. And then by the time we fly past this guy, we're not going to have any planes left, right? So we'll anticipate where he's going to go, see if we get lucky, see if we get hits. And then we'll switch to our bomber guys and take one last run. See where we can end up on the leaderboard for this game. You know, if you are a aircraft carrier and you show up at the top of the leaderboard, you have done it right? Like, it is a tough ship to play as. I always kind of am like happy if I get, you know, top half. You know, if I'm like 4th on the leaderboard or better, I'm always kind of satisfied with that. But just because we survived quite a bit longer than everybody else, and we're up to 184,000 damage now for the Midway here. I have high hopes that we did even better for our team, right? We'll see what our base score ends up as. picking the aircraft carrier type, or the aircraft type that we have more of, but obviously now that we're spotted, we're probably going to go down pretty quick. I doubt we'll make it to the cruiser. Oh, yep. There's also points and time, you know, whatever. So yeah, 184,000 damage. We got a Wither medal though, and then it does put us 1,300 XP. That puts us at the top for our team. Yeah, that was a challenging map, or a challenging match, and we managed to stick with it, right? So, you know, you do what you can, right? Thank you guys so much for watching, especially if you stuck around till the end. If you're still here, you are my favorite kind of person, right? Make sure to subscribe to the channel. I am dying, apparently. I am trying to do a World of Warships video every single day. So we play a bunch of matches and then kind of, you know, pick our favorites, not necessarily the best ones. Sometimes the best ones are boring, you know, if you just getting a win and not a lot of action happens, it's, you know, wah, wah. But yes, this is the Midway. Thank you so much for watching again. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, only if you liked it, right? Until next time, guys. Thanks.